All right. How are you doing this morning, ladies and gentlemen? We're starting the oxygen cycle here. And so, as you know, we have started a unit that is looking at cycles in nature. And we're actually going to be looking at 4 different cycles. You've taken a little bit of a look already at the water cycle. Kind of review also from 6th grade for those of you who are here at PCA in 6th grade. We talked about the water cycle then as well. This is our second one, oxygen. Then we'll be looking at the carbon cycle and finally the nitrogen cycle. Before we get too far, I would like to make sure that we understand what a cycle is. All right. So a cycle is a series of events that keeps repeating over and over again. In basically the same order. Doesn't necessarily mean it's an exact circle all the time, especially some of these cycles that we're talking about in nature, although the oxygen cycle probably is more so than any of the others. But there are, a cycle does have a certain pattern to it. So there are certain things that can't happen before other things, although there's not necessarily a perfect circle that everything goes in. So just keep that in mind. A few important facts to keep in mind about the oxygen cycle. First of all, hopefully all of you realize that, like water, most living things need oxygen in order to survive, in order to carry out their basic cellular processes. So in order for your cells to be able to work properly, you need to be able to have oxygen available for those cells. And of course, oxygen is also important because it's a part of so many other things, including things that are really abundant in our lives and in our earth, like carbon dioxide. The oxide comes from the word oxygen because carbon dioxide its chemical formula is CO2, which tells us that carbon dioxide is made up of carbon. The letter C represents carbon, and capital letter O represents oxygen. The di comes from the fact that there are actually 2 oxygen atoms in that molecule of carbon dioxide. So, oxygen is a part of carbon dioxide. It's also a part of water, which of course is critical to life on Earth. And so again, we have H2O, the O being the oxygen part of the water formula. So oxygen is just absolutely critical to life on Earth and to life on Earth continuing. And so God created our Earth to be dependent upon oxygen and to place oxygen in that place of importance right from the beginning, right from the time of creation. So God had a great and grand plan for his creation, and that included oxygen. So the oxygen cycle involves photosynthesis, and so we hear about photosynthesis all the time. We know that photosynthesis is the primary source of oxygen in Earth's atmosphere. A little tidbit, not really in your notes, but thought I'd just pass it along. You can always add it there to the margin of your notes or somewhere. But I don't know if you're aware, a lot of times we think about, you don't want to cut down the trees because we need the oxygen, right? Because we need those trees to do photosynthesis so that we have oxygen to breathe. Well, that is true. However, most of the oxygen, like a large percentage of our oxygen that's in our atmosphere, actually comes from phytoplankton that live in the ocean. So there's all kinds of different types of plankton that live in the ocean, which of course are very tiny microscopic organisms. Many of them are one-celled, single-celled organisms. And some of them are called phytoplankton. The phyto indicates that they do photosynthesis. There are also zooplankton, and those are plankton that do not do photosynthesis. They are consumers. Phytoplankton do photosynthesis. Some of them also are consumers and get some of their energy from also consuming things. But a vast majority of them get most of their energy from doing photosynthesis. And when they do that process, they are taking in carbon dioxide, they are taking in water, and they're using the light energy from the sun to perform photosynthesis, which then releases oxygen back into the atmosphere, some of which they use, and also releases sugars, which they use for their energy, as well as water again. And so based on the fact that oxygen is found in the molecule of carbon dioxide, and the fact that oxygen and carbon dioxide are both an important part of photosynthesis, this means that they actually play a really important role in each other's cycles. And so we're going to take a little bit of a look at what we mean by that. So during photosynthesis, oxygen gets released into the air. So we have some plants down here, some grasses and things, and they are releasing oxygen into the air as they do carbon dioxide. Okay, so this arrow here represents the oxygen. In this case, it's O2 gas, all right, which means it's two oxygen atoms that are chemically combined together to form a specific kind of oxygen gas. For instance, O3 is quite poisonous to us, but O2 is essential for life. So it's in the form of the oxygen that we need, O2. And then animals, humans, take in this oxygen gas, and we use that in order for our cells to be able to do the things that they do. And as our cells use that oxygen, our cells then give off carbon dioxide as a waste product. Our blood carries that carbon dioxide to our lungs. We breathe that carbon dioxide out and into the atmosphere. So this blue line here represents the carbon dioxide that we're breathing into the atmosphere. And of course, then those plants take in that oxygen breathed out by this cute little bunny, or excuse me, take in the carbon dioxide breathed out by the cute little bunny. And now photosynthesis happens all over again. The plants use the carbon dioxide and water and light energy in order to give off oxygen. Oxygen gets breathed in by the cute bunny, and then the bunny breathes out carbon dioxide, which the plants use to make oxygen, which the bunny takes in, so on and so forth. It's a pretty simple little circle here with the oxygen cycle. The water cycle, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, all of those are a little more complicated. But the oxygen cycle is just one of those beautifully essential things that is just truly simple in so many ways too. There's not a lot of different parts to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a great day.